Okay, so you know when you're tracking something online and it seems to take this like completely bizarre route.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, that little annoyance, it actually points to these uh, much bigger headaches in the whole world of moving goods around.
Absolutely. Shippers deal with costs going up, carriers, they're stuck with routes that aren't efficient, trucks are running empty sometimes.
Right. It feels like there's just a lot of friction in this system.
Yeah, anyone who's actually tried to manage freight, sending stuff out, getting materials in, they know it's complex. It's always a struggle to make it work efficiently.
Well, we've been digging into the materials from this company, SemiCab,
Uh-huh.
and they're putting forward a pretty interesting, maybe different way to tackle these, long-standing problems.
Right.
They talk about something specific. They call it orchestrated collaboration.
Right. Orchestrated collaboration
Yeah.
sounds potentially significant.
Yeah, and it sounds like they think it could be maybe a real game changer for freight. So our mission today really is just to understand what that actually means.
Yeah, and what makes their approach maybe different from, other things already out there.
What's the substance behind it?
Exactly. Let's try and get past the buzzwords, right? Figure out the core idea. What's the philosophy, and how could it actually tangibly, fix some of these inefficiencies we see?
Okay, sounds good. So let's start with the problem itself, at least how SemiCab describes it. They share some pretty eye-opening numbers about freight right now.
They really do. I mean, one of the big ones they highlight is the sheer amount of empty miles.
Yeah.
They say somewhere between, 25 and 30% of all the miles trucks drive are empty.
25 to 30%. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of wasted driving.
It's huge. Think about it.
The fuel, the driver time, the wear on the trucks,
Mhm.
basically just hauling air.
Exactly. And the cost associated with that, SemiCab puts a number on it. Around $100 billion annually. Lost value just from trucks running empty.
100 billion. Okay,
Yep.
yeah, that's not pocket change. It really highlights why people are looking for better ways, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And, well, that leads right into what SemiCab says their mission is.
Which is
Fundamentally, it's about driving down those empty miles, reducing that waste.
okay.
And the way they say they do it is by providing continuous insights, real-time understanding of both the demand who needs stuff shipped and the capacity who has the trucks.
Right, so it's like creating a clearer, constantly updated picture, see who needs what, where, when, and match it with who's available to move it.
Yeah, ultimately trying to build more reliable, efficient capacity out of what's already there.
Okay, makes sense.
And this is where their big concept, that orchestrated collaboration, really comes into play.
Right. Now, you hear collaboration thrown around a lot in logistics tech.
Oh, definitely. It's a common term.
So what's potentially different about how SemiCab orchestrates it? What does that orchestration piece mean?
That's really the key question, isn't it? So many platforms say they connect shippers and carriers. What's SemiCab doing differently in the how?
Yeah.
Well, from what we've gathered from their materials, the difference seems to be in the active role SemiCab takes. They're not just providing a space for connections to maybe happen.
Okay, so it's not just like a digital load board.
It seems to be more than that. They talk about actively aggregating the demand, all the shipping needs, and the supply, the available trucks across this whole network of different companies.
Multi-enterprise, they call it.
Yeah, exactly. And then their system supposedly optimizes loads across that wider network.
Okay, can you give an example? Like, how would that work?
Well, imagine a truck delivers a load for shipper A. Normally, it might drive off empty to its next pickup, maybe miles away.
Right.
But SemiCab system, because it sees the bigger picture, might identify that shipper B, who's nearby, has a load going in roughly the same direction.
Even if shipper A and shipper B don't normally work together or even know about each other's needs.
Precisely. The system is looking for those connections, those optimization opportunities that individual companies might miss because they only see their own part of the puzzle.
So it's proactively trying to string together these more efficient routes, combining loads, maybe backhauls that wouldn't naturally happen.
That seems to be the core idea, seeing the whole network and finding those synergies.
Okay, and the benefits it promised then flow from that.
Directly. For shippers, they talk about, better costs, more efficiency in getting their goods moved.
Makes sense.
And for carriers, well, the big draw is obvious. Cutting down those empty miles, that hits their bottom line directly. More paid miles, less waste.
And they also mentioned something about better carrier load pairings. What do you think that means? More than just location matching.
Yeah, I think it implies something a bit more sophisticated. Maybe the system considers the type of truck needed, or if a carrier specializes in, say, refrigerated goods or even their preferred routes.
So matching the load, not just to any truck, but to the right truck and carrier for that specific job.
Potentially, yeah. Which could lead to better service, maybe happier drivers if they get loads that fit their operation better.
Okay. And a key point they seem to make is that this increased efficiency, this collaboration, it happens without forcing everyone to, like, completely change how they already operate.
Right. That could be really important for adoption, couldn't it? If you don't have to rip out your existing systems or processes.
Definitely lowers the barrier.
Yeah.
So how is this idea being received? Have they gotten any kind of validation or recognition?
Yeah, it seems they have. Looking through their materials, they mentioned several awards. For instance, Food Logistics named them a top software and technology provider.
Okay, food logistics. So that suggests relevance for, well, the food and beverage supply chain specifically. Safety, efficiency there.
Exactly. That award focuses on tech that helps make that particular supply chain safer, more efficient, more reliable. So it implies their system is seen as doing that.
Got it. What else?
They also got a Pros to Know award from Supply and Demand Chain Executive.
Pros to know. What does that usually signify?
That one typically highlights people or companies who are seen as leaders in using the supply chain for like a competitive advantage.
So it suggests their approach is viewed as strategically beneficial for businesses.
That's the implication, yeah. And then there's one from Fast Company.
Ooh, which one?
A World Changing Ideas Award.
Okay, that sounds significant. Fast Company, world-changing ideas, that's usually for pretty innovative stuff, tackling big problems, right?
Yeah, it's quite prestigious. Being included there suggests their model is seen as, genuinely novel and potentially having a wide positive impact.
Interesting. Any others?
One more they mention is the Green Supply Chain Award, also from Supply and Demand Chain Executive.
Green supply chain. So that links directly back to the empty miles thing, right? Sustainability.
Absolutely. It highlights that by focusing on reducing those wasted miles, they're also inherently cutting down on fuel use, emissions, the environmental footprint, and that's being recognized.
Okay, so it seems they're getting nods for efficiency, strategy, innovation, and sustainability. Quite a range.
It does seem that way. Now, they also mention a blog post on their site from February 25th this year, 2025.
Okay.
The title is 6 Ways Digital Freight Reduces Volatility. We don't have the whole article in front of us, but just based on that title.
Reduces volatility. That definitely speaks to a major pain point right now.
Right.
Prices swinging wildly, capacity uncertainty.
Exactly. So it suggests they're positioning their digital collaborative approach as a way to bring some stability and predictability back into the freight market.
Which connects right back to those initial problems we talked about, the unpredictability, the desire for reliability.
Yep. And then there's this quote they use from Henry Ford.
Oh yeah, what is it?
If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself.
Huh. Okay, I can see how that fits.
Right. It really seems to capture the essence of their whole orchestrated collaboration idea.
The idea that if you align everyone, the shippers needing things moved, the carriers moving them, if you get them working together, even indirectly through this system.
Then the whole system becomes more efficient, more successful for everybody involved. Success takes care of itself.
Makes sense as a guiding principle for them.
So if we kind of pull it all together, SemiCab is basically saying, look, freight is inefficient, especially these empty miles costing billions.
Right, big problem.
Our solution is orchestrated collaboration. We actively use technology to aggregate needs and capacity across many companies.
And optimize how loads are moved between them to cut that way.
Exactly. And the promised payoff is better profits, more efficiency for shippers, and crucially, fewer empty miles and better suited loads for carriers.
And importantly, they claim this can happen without users needing a massive operational overhaul.